It's really the job of the CEO to own the vision. But with a strong CHRO, you can make that vision so much clearer and more impactful for the business.
Aaron Skonnard is the co-founder and former CEO of
Pluralsight, the leader in tech learning.
the company he grew to over $600 million in revenue. He spent 20 years building one of the most influential tech learning companies in the world.
I remember during the interview process, you asked me, are you willing to be coached? After going through that dialogue with you, I realized, okay, with Anita, I'm going to get something more strategic where I can have this deep trust and a true business partner. That's going to do more for the company than almost anything else. If you have your CHRO a bit at arm's length, you're missing out on a big opportunity.
Hi, Aaron. Thank you so much for coming on our show today. I'm so excited to talk with you.
Happy to be here.
You have been the best CEO partner I've ever had as a CHRO. And I think we did a lot of things that would be great to share with everybody else. And so I'd love to hear from you. How do you look at the role? And how did you define the role when you went out to find the role I eventually filled?
Thanks for having me here today. I'm excited to talk about all this. You were the first CHRO I hired. Prior to that, we didn't really have what I would think of as like a real HR department. So in a lot of ways, when you came to Pluralsight, it was the moment of creation of, what we think of as HR today and a people organization. And so I think back on that very fondly because, I think for both of us, we were stepping into new territory. For you, it was coming to this really fast growth, exciting tech company that was changing the world through e-learning, bringing tech skills to the world. And really you didn't know a lot about that at the time. And I also didn't know a lot about HR. And so coming together, we were really partnering, to lay this new foundation for the company. And I remember during the interview process with you, trying to find the right person for this role. You said some things to me and asked me some questions that really helped me think more deeply about what I really wanted in this partnership. Which I think what this question is really about. What does the ideal partnership look like? And, one of the things I remember you saying, describing sort of what the kind of partnership you wanted to have with the CEO, and testing me to see if I was willing to give that.
Yeah.
And if I would trust you in that way. And I remember you asking me some very pointed questions around all of that. And I remember thinking this is the kind of person who really is thinking strategically about how HR will help create, and materialize this vision that I had for the company and that I was so passionate about and committed to. So it was in that moment that I realized that's really what I wanted. So in the interview, it started to sort of, at first, I just thought I wanted what everyone wanted, someone who knows HR, who has experience, who kind of knows the drill. But after going through that dialogue with you, I realized, okay, with Anita, I'm going to get something much deeper, something more strategic, where I can have this deep trust and a true business partner, someone who will, in many ways, be my partner, my maybe most trusted advisor in the business that will help me, realize a lot of these, amazing, ideas that I have in my head. And that's really what I think is most impactful about the best CEO, CHRO relationships I've seen, like the one I experienced with you, but also when I look around and see other CEOs who are really thriving, they usually have that type of relationship with their head of HR, head of people. And it's really where amazing things happen, I think.
It's true. What do you think it was about you that was going to be open to creating that mutual trust?
I think part of it might have been the fact that I didn't really know.
Yes.
So I was open-minded about it.
Right.
And I think I've actually seen this in a lot of CEOs too, who have
Yeah.
had maybe bad experiences in the past and maybe don't, and like I can see they don't want that. They actually kind
Yeah.
of push it away a little bit because they don't want to get too close to anyone in their C-suite. You know, and maybe because of past experiences, they have these biases and like just aren't, their mind isn't willing to go there.
Yeah.
But with me, because I hadn't done it before and I didn't really know what great looked like,
Right.
I was, I think, just very malleable and like open to, just thinking outside the box of what I really wanted to have in that partnership. And I think that's probably it more than anything. But I also knew that I wanted, like the idea of having a close advisor and a close partner, especially around, managing a team of like really high performing, high potential executives, like was really appealing to me too.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to like about that idea,
Yes.
and being able to like sort of grow this team and create almost like a supply chain of excellence within the business. And so I think some of it was you sort of bringing me those ideas combined with my growth mindset of like
Yep.
what's possible and wanting to learn and wanting to experiment, that sort of allowed us to have a pretty magical moment together in our chapter at Pluralsight.
It was a great chapter.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit more about the supply chain idea.
Yeah. So, it's something I really believe in. We talked about this a lot at Pluralsight with our customers because the product we were delivering to them really promised to give them this supply chain for tech skills in their
Yes.
business. Like all these new tech innovations are coming out, and you can't just rely on going out to hire it all the time, right? When you need it. You need to be able to build an engine within the company to create that future supply of those new emerging skills. And we kind of looked at Pluralsight that way in terms of leadership.
Yeah.
Like we felt like it was our job, you and I, in this partnership, CEO, CHRO, to build a supply chain of leadership talent within the business. So it was really focused on leadership
Yep.
development, but like how do we ensure that we're not relying on just going to hire the
Right.
next kind of leader we need, but instead we're like growing these leaders, we're developing these leaders, and we're strategically preparing them, for the next step in their careers, but also the next step of what the company needs.
Yes.
And we did a lot of work around that,
We did a lot of
a
work
ton
around
of
that.
work around that. And that's what I mean by supply chain.
Yeah. We did a lot of work on our own because we were
Yes.
still in our biggest jobs together.
Yes.
What were some of the things that you remember that how we pushed ourselves to grow with the business?
Well, I remember one of the questions you asked me, which I think a lot of CEOs might find abrasive. I don't know. Some CEOs might find it abrasive, but I didn't at the time. You asked me, like, are you willing to be coached? I think that was one of the questions you asked
Yeah.
me when I was interviewing you.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. But then I thought about it more and I understood why you were asking the question. Because if I wasn't willing to be coached, how am I going to create a culture
Of learning.
of learning and coaching, especially at the executive ranks, in the C-suite? And I, at that time, I was also feeling sort of the stretch happening of like, okay, I'm being stretched here in ways that I haven't been before, and I need help.
Yeah.
So I was actually feeling some of that internally. And so coupled with your question, your challenge of,
Yeah.
are you willing, like, if you, like, it felt to me like you were sort of asking the question, and if I didn't answer it right, you weren't going to come.
It's a hostage
And so-
situation.
Was that right?
I would say like one of the biggest things I've always appreciated about you is your willingness to learn.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say that. I'm a lifelong learner. I'm a lifelong learner. And I was looking for evidence that you really wanted to learn, and then not just learn, it's application. And you are one of the best appliers of knowledge to your future state I've ever seen. But I didn't know that at the time.
Right. Okay. So you were testing for that. That
Yes.
makes sense. So but and asking that question was, again, back to like the beginning of this conversation, was also evidence to me that this was like a deeper partnership.
Yeah.
Like it would be a more meaningful partnership than I had had before with my executives. And it would be one that would actually help me grow, and help me develop as a CEO. And so, anyway, I answered the question, yes, I would be willing to be coached. And that sort of started our journey on this, like, we went to great lengths to sort of make the investments necessary financially, as well as with time, to do our own work on ourselves and on our partnership as CEO CHRO.
Yeah.
And I think that sort of laid the foundation for that type of coaching culture across the executive team, the C-suite.
This is a big part of what I wanted us to share, because I do think it was our commitment to how we were going to go to work together that was a demonstration to the rest of the team on how we could work and function as a team.
That's right.
Yeah.
I saw that same thing. And so then when we went to the executive team, not long thereafter, and said, hey, are you willing to be coached? They all knew what the right answer was too.
Yeah. Yes,
I mean,
yes.
they, and some were more excited about it than others,
That's
I would
true.
say. But because they saw that commitment in us, and hopefully they saw improvements in like how the coaching was helping us be better leaders for them.
Yeah.
I would say most of the executives on the team were actually learning to be hungry for it, like learning like there would be value coming from it. And so they all agreed, and we had coaches for every person on the executive team for many, many years.
Yeah.
And that was like a really interesting journey, because like I've never been at a company where that was the case before.
No, me neither.
Where every executive at the C level had a committed coach that they met with every week.
Yeah.
Like, it was weekly, wasn't it?
It was weekly or biweekly.
I mean, and so there was like a deep commitment. We spent a lot of money on it. It was, sort of a culture that we had developed where, we were getting feedback every week. There were private sessions, but like you would go in, talk about what was happening, get immediate feedback, learn how to apply it, how to improve your leadership behaviors and characteristics. And so like the whole team just started operating at a higher level.
Well, the other thing too was like, I would say, oh, I wish Aaron would do this with me. And the coach wouldn't say, well, I'm going to take that back. He would help me figure out how I would go to you.
Right.
And say, if we did this, it would be really impactful. And so we actually, I think, sped up efficiency.
Yes, I agree. I think we all moved a lot faster. We were more honest, more direct. Everyone was able to sit in the discomfort of hearing, what was working or what wasn't working in their relationships with other executives or between their teams. And that does cause like things to speed up. It causes things to move faster. You resolve things more quickly. Nothing festers, like it's a very high performing environment to be in, where there's like, no holds barred, like everyone's like everyone's very respectful and sort of, I would say, kind in their approaches. And that's one of the things you learn when dealing with a coach is when you're working with a coach, you learn how people are experiencing you better, right? And you become more in tune with that. Yeah. And therefore you become, a kinder human being in many ways, but also capable of being honest and being direct.
Yes.
And that's where a lot of magic happens on a high-performing team.
It's true. It's hard, and it's magic.
It's magic. When it happens well, it's magic. And I think, so a lot of like what happened after you came into the business, we committed to the type of relationship we wanted to have. We basically built this machine, this framework that would allow us to sort of create that type of operating environment for leaders in the business. And then once the executive team was all demonstrating it and doing it well, we were then able to take it to the rest of the business.
Yes. So I want to talk more about that, but I want to
Yeah.
go back to another key work stream
Sure.
that we did at the same time. And you talked about it this morning. We figured out where we were going to go.
Yes.
And without that, I don't know that we would have operationalized our culture in the same way.
Agreed. You mean where we're going to go with the business?
Correct.
Like with the vision.
The vision.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that is like super important because I mean, culture, like you hear a lot of leaders will say culture eats strategy for lunch
Or breakfast.
or for breakfast, whatever it is, whatever meal we're talking
Any
about.
meal.
Yeah. But while there is some truth to that, like if you don't have a North Star and you don't know where you're going,
Right.
like the best culture in the world isn't going to get you anywhere,
I
right?
agree.
So like you kind of, you first have to have your North Star pretty well cemented.
Mm-hmm.
And then your culture is what like accelerates you getting there.
Right. And this is a piece of work that a lot of founders are missing, but also a lot of CHROs don't see as their job.
Like defining the vision.
Yes.
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 Yeah. And it really, I would say it probably isn't their job alone.
Correct.
But this is another place where our partnership really, shined, I think, it's really the job of the CEO to own the vision and ultimately the strategy.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's like one of the few things that the CEO can't like fully delegate. But with a strong CHRO, like you can make that vision so much clearer and more impactful for the business. And they should also be part of helping formulate it. Like so I remember when we launched our first Vision 2020.
It's still cemented in my brain.
Yeah,
I love
that
visual.
was a special moment. You were a key part of that. In creating it, helping define it, but also in delivering it and cementing it within the company. And that's where the partnership comes together.
Yeah.
Right. Because I remember that kickoff moment, we both felt like we were sort of delivering this thing into the world, like a newborn. Like this is the new
North
picture
Star.
of like where this company is going. And it was after a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of,
The whole company had weighed in too.
yeah, we got feedback and input all across all functions. And so it was a labor of love that took a while to cement and then fully deliver. But once it was done, it was like everything changed from that moment on.
Yeah.
Like there was so much more clarity for people. And this vision wasn't just like, sometimes people get confused when you say vision. Sometimes a vision statement is what people think, which is just like maybe a few words or a sentence. This vision was different.
Right.
It was like, a clearly articulated multi-page vision of what the company is going to look like 5 years from now. And that takes a lot more effort.
It takes a ton more effort. I mean, we had it by customer,
Yeah.
product, culture was a piece. Our learners were a piece.
Revenue metrics.
Our authors, every piece of the business had.
So we kind of dissected like every part of the business and said, here's what that's going to look like 5 years from now. Here's how these different things are going to change and evolve. And here's ultimately what that's going to mean in terms of the top line revenue metrics and customer metrics and customer satisfaction. But all those other pieces needed to be sort of outlined as well. So like people within those functions knew, oh, that's kind of what we're aiming for next. That's what we need to go create and build and materialize. And so that vision statement, like if we had just done that launch event where we were at that movie theater, we had like, a few hundred employees there, a bunch more like remote. If we had just launched that's like said that once, articulated it, and then went about our work and never did anything again, everyone would have forgotten.
Yeah.
They might have captured a few kind of headline things from it, but like it takes time for a vision to be cemented within a company culture. And that's really the job of a CHRO.
It is.
Is to help take that vision all the way, to take it all the way through the business. So it's part of like how we think, how we operate, like everyone's talking about it, referring to it,
Yes.
like thinking more deeply about it, like
We're reporting on it in town halls.
quarterly business reviews,
Yes.
like we're measuring ourselves against it. Like it becomes sort of like the backbone of the company.
Yes.
The strategy sessions are all about, okay, how do we get to the next milestone in that vision?
Yeah.
And what tactics are we going to use to like ensure that happens? And so like, you did a great job of that.
It was a great
And
team
your
effort.
team, you had an amazing team. And and I remember we created all these beautiful artifacts.
We had a great marketing team that created beautiful pieces.
So it was a partnership
It was.
between people and marketing
Yeah.
to sort of like bring that vision to life within the company. And it wasn't just the vision, but also the values, the
Yes.
cultural values. So we always talk about mission, vision, values, and then strategy.
Yeah.
And those first three things kind of lay the foundation. Mission and vision is like, okay, where we're going, like what we're doing every day and where we're going in the next 5 years. And then the values, like how we're going to do it, how we're going to work as a team.
Yeah.
And then the strategy outlines the tactics, like for how you're going to make it real, like how you're going to execute. And when you have all those pieces working together, it's also magic. Like that's where the best performing teams operate.
We know every day that culture really trumps all. We have our mission values there on Nectar, and we have a mission committee of our board. And, that's kind of soft. How do you really measure that you're meeting that mission? What's been great for those board members is for us to take in some of the charts and reports from Nectar, and we see what values are being acknowledged. I think the engagement has improved in that we are filling positions. The word of mouth that we have in the community that we can define and acknowledge through Nectar is making a difference.
The number one question, I think I shared this with you, that I get from past Pluralsighters is how can I have that again? Just that piece, I think, is such a construction for success for organizations. So they know what they're operating inside of. So can you share a little bit about how we did the values?
Yes. And I will say on that point, I think part of it was lightning in a bottle.
Yes, it was.
Acknowledge
Magic time.
that. Like, I think we timed things perfectly with where the world was going.
Yeah.
We got lucky.
We did.
But at the same time, we executed well with the luck we had been given.
Yes.
With some of these things you're talking about. And I think that just like magnified
Yes.
like what we were able to do.
Yeah.
And I, so when we did the values, can I go back to the first set of values real quick? Because I think
Yes.
this is like really interesting.
Yeah.
When we
We have the
created
three.
the first three values that the company ever had, my co-founders and I did this. We had this little offsite in Park City, and we we had a little whiteboard, and we said, okay, like this seems like the best way to do this. Let's just think about the best people in the company we have today. And at the time, we had probably only had like maybe, I don't know, like 50 people. And we said, but like of those 50, who are the people that we feel like just embody the best things about Pluralsight today? And so everyone started throwing out names, and we just write the names on the board. And we probably had like, I don't know, like 8 to 10 names on the board of the 50. And then we all sort of looked at each other and said, we agree? Yeah, okay, these are the people, like this is the face of Pluralsight today. What makes Pluralsight special? It's people like this. And then we said, okay, so now let's go through each one of these people, and let's write the first words that pop into our mind when we think about that person.
Yeah.
And so then we wrote 2 or 3 words, for each of these people. And then we zoomed out and said, okay, what are the themes? What are the themes that we see here? And there were 3 like really clear themes that emerged. And we called it truth seekers,
Yes.
entrepreneurs, and eternal optimists. And so those became our 3 values. So the 3 core values we started, and I can say more about each one. I don't know if it's really like material or relevant in this conversation, but the point I want to make is those 3 values came from our people.
Yeah.
Like first we found people that were passionate about what we were doing, who were willing to take a risk and believe in our mission.
Yeah.
And then as that culture started to gel, we then looked for like, what is it about these people
Make it
that
special.
we want to replicate and make and sort of scale,
Yeah.
so we don't lose that special, thing that we had already built. And so that helped drive our future hiring for the next many years.
Yeah.
Then eventually, as we got bigger, we realized that those 3 core values were still missing some things that we valued.
Yeah. Well, and it was
Like-
based off the new vision too.
Right. So we like in that time, we created the Vision 2020, had more clarity on where we wanted to go and what we needed to get there. And then we started to notice that like we don't have a value that talks about customers.
Yeah.
Like that's important to us. We
Yes.
value that.
Yes.
And we noticed a few other things
Yeah.
too. Some people thought we're almost like abusing or hijacking the eternal optimist core value and sort of
We struggled a lot with results and optimism,
Yes. And
values and performance.
so people started to twist kind of
Yeah.
what we meant by some of our original values
Yeah.
a little bit, and we realized, okay, like these need to evolve a little bit. And so then we went through a whole process to revamp the values. But this was like, I don't know how many years in. This was probably like 6 or 7 years into the business from like the first time we had created them.
Yeah.
And I remember when we sat down to do it, we were both like, this is big.
This is a lot.
Like changing values is not like, it's not something you do lightly.
Anytime somebody asks me, tell me if this is how you see it. When I zoom out, you change values when you bring in a new executive team and you go on a new mission.
Yeah, I think that's true. Like you at least need to look at them and see if they are consistent with the people you have, the people you want to have, and any sort of, evolution to, the culture that you want to create in the company.
Right.
Because the values do drive the culture
They do.
ultimately. So anyway, when we sat down to sort of revamp them, we didn't do that exact same process, but we took a similar approach. We actually gathered a group from
Yep.
within the company, not the founders anymore,
Right.
but people who we felt, again, like embodied like the best sort of behaviors,
pieces.
the best pieces of Pluralsight.
Yeah.
And we actually put them in charge of like coming up with the ideas of what the new values should be. Kind of representing different functions from across the business, different perspectives, different tenures, different locations.
Yes.
And so it became kind of a working group,
Yeah.
which was very special. And so almost a little out of my hands.
How was that for you?
It did take trust and sort of belief that it would like trust in the fact that it would produce the best answer.
Yeah.
And I believed that. And there was still an opportunity for me to, opine and sort of.
You were the final decision
I was
maker.
the final decision maker, so I didn't like feel like, like that would like I would have an issue with one, before I was able to discuss it with the group.
And just for scale and context, we were about 300 people,
Yeah,
about 7 locations US, and about 100 million in ARR.
that's probably about right. Yeah. Yeah. And so then, we went through the whole process. It took a minute. It wasn't a fast thing. Went through many iterations, and then ultimately ended up landing on a set of 5 core values that we felt were much more representative of, the people we had at the time, but also, where we wanted to drive the culture in the future.
Yeah.
And it was sort of the first time in my career I had changed the values, and in partnership with my CHRO, you in this case, like that was, what could have been a very scary job to do
Yeah.
became a lot a lot easier to accomplish, again, with the right partner in the
Yeah.
seat.
And it was also galvanizing for our executive team.
It was. Yeah, everyone who was, especially the people who were part of shaping it, they became ambassadors of these new values to the rest of the business. And they actually, I think when we launched, we actually had them help present and talk about these values. And so it was no longer like, oh, this is a top down, we're just like,
Make me do this.
shoving these new values down your throat. Like it was more of like, these came from our people again.
Yeah.
And here's why, we're moving in this direction and we're talking about things a little bit differently.
Yeah.
And again, back to the growth mindset. If everyone in the business has this growth mindset, it's not as shocking that this would happen.
Right.
Like every business needs to evolve.
Right.
And what worked in one chapter may not work in the next chapter. And so you're constantly, if you have that culture in the company, it's easier for everyone to adapt and learn and grow and move with it. And then you start seeing the culture sort of evolve in a new direction.
So we've established the vision, we've established the values, and that's why we picked coaching as an operationalized mechanism to help us live to the values more effectively.
That's right.
So what were some of the things that you and I did in the spirit of all this good context that help us optimize the power of our relationship?
Well, I would say first and foremost, we had a very tight sort of working rhythm.
Yeah.
Meaning we spent a lot of time together each week.
We were in office.
Together. I would spend more time with you in terms of like one-on-one time and strategic thinking about the team, about the people,
Yeah.
than I would with any other executive, really. And I think that's the sign, I think, of a really, strong sort of talent-oriented relationship, right? Like and that's what I would encourage CEOs to think about. Like, if you have your CHRO a bit at arm's length, you're kind of missing out on a big opportunity.
Yeah.
And when you spend that kind of time and invest that time in it, you then start learning things about your team that you probably didn't know.
Yep. Yep.
And you could know very easily. And I would say that's one of the first things like I started to, benefit from in this sort of tighter than normal relationship is you start understanding things about your executive team that need attention.
Yeah. A few things we would do that are just like details that may seem silly, but I think made a big difference.
Yeah, please.
We were always like hungry or needed tea at 2:00. So if we had and even before we switched buildings, because we weren't always in the same building, like I would kind of know your schedule and I knew when I could touch base with you.
Yeah.
And just be like, hey, I'm popping in. How are things going?
Yeah.
And it would give you a chance to be like, I'm thinking about these things. And then I would be able to capture them and go answer to figure them out.
Yes.
The other thing is I would pop by before you went home for the day. You left at 5:30 like clockwork.
Yep.
I knew if I could catch you at 5:15, we'd be able to offload anything important, and then I would have what I needed for the next day. So it was like it was intentional, but it was also just kind of ad hoc on when I knew I could kind of catch you. It was also genius because we both had young kids. And so we'd be off the clock from 5:30 to 10:30, but we knew if we needed to catch up, we could catch up at 10:30.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, that was like the sort of the tight rhythm I was referring to. And then also text and other forms of communication was strong and, constant. And the other thing that would happen, you weren't just checking in with me to see what I needed, but you were also bringing things to me.
Yeah.
And so oh, by the way, in this little check-in that we're doing, I heard this, bubble up, through the
This came up
through the grapevine. And you were good at protecting privacy, not sort of betraying any trusts, any trust in your relationships with other people, but also bringing to my attention things that I needed to be aware of. And in many cases, we were able to then proactively, cut those issues off at the pass in a very powerful and I would say healthy way for the business that could have otherwise become really big issues.
and really big time sucks.
Yeah.
Like
Huge
we
time
work
sucks.
to optimize efficiency. I kind of think of those military movies where people are back to back. And I feel like we'd go back to back, and my job was to kind of cover your flank
Yeah.
and to see the things that were coming at you, but not tell you everything.
Right.
Just the things that were pertinent to the week, the month, the quarter that we were in.
And that's a really important, and I would say sort of subtle point here is, if you, like the trust you had with the other executives was paramount for this whole model to work. Because if they ever felt like you were betraying them with me,
Would not work.
it would not work. And so it's a very difficult line for CHROs to walk, right? You have to maintain that trust with your peer group, but at the same time, be able to help your CEO see things that might be coming.
Yeah.
And in many situations, it would be you encouraging them to come to me.
Yes. That's the
Right?
best
That's
way.
the best. That's the
Option
best
one.
path. Option one. And when that worked well, then I would be able to go into those conversations, much sooner than would have happened otherwise,
Yeah.
right? And be able to to handle them. And those situations weren't like scary to me because of all the work that we had done and the coaching and sort of like where I knew my executives were in their coaching as
Yeah.
well. So like
Yeah.
everyone was kind of operating at a higher level and allowed us to sort of tackle, concerns or issues or
Yeah.
just different things that would emerge. But if that can't happen, there's also ways, for, you to help me sort of prepare for those things that might be coming without betraying trust, without
Right.
breaking trust.
Right.
And that's where, I just have to trust you.
Yeah.
Like I can't have all the information
Right.
and I'm not going to have it, but I'm trusting that what you're telling me matters for some reason.
Did you feel it was non-emotional? I mean, sometimes it was.
100%.
Right. But this is just like kind of what's happening.
Yeah, I would say most of the time it was just matter of fact.
Yeah.
Like, there's something coming your way that you need to be prepared for. But I can't tell you exactly what it is, but that's helpful.
It is.
It's helpful. So like, I just hope, and especially if any of our executives listen to this, like, I hope they know like just how much we, respected them and cared about them and their individual, success in the business.
Totally.
And so it was always in that spirit,
Yeah.
and I think you did a fantastic job of being a great peer to them, but also being a strong support to me in my role. And that's, I think, sort of the potential, like the sort of the best case, relationship between a CEO and a CHRO in this new world that we operate in. Can't always happen that way because you need two personalities that want to operate that way and where the chemistry works. But when it does work that way, it can be pretty special.
There's kind of three things that I can think of that people could take out of this. So maybe a little bit around our rules. We had strict rules around privacy and confidentiality.
Yes, we did.
That we would never break. And same way, like if somebody came to me on the executive team and said, you have to keep this in confidence, I would 100% keep it in confidence.
Yes.
And so I think that's really important to note. Even if it's something I know you would really want to know, I might say, hey, you need to go spend time with so-and-so, but I can't guarantee you're going to get there. And I can't tell you.
Right.
But we mutually respected that.
Right. 100%. And another part of that dynamic too was with the coaches, because some of
Yes.
our coaches all worked for the same group. And so we were also worried about coaches sharing information with each other.
Yeah.
And so those rules even extended to them, where, like anything that's shared with you, and obviously most coaches like know this. This is like, sort of
It
coaching
doesn't
101.
happen in all organizations, though.
But it should.
It should.
Like, it should be pretty obvious.
Yeah.
But like, we were very strict about those rules, and especially with our dynamic with our executives on our team, never violated that.
Never.
And that's what made it work, I think, and why they felt that trust, because they knew. Like it would be hard to hide that, I think.
Yeah.
If you weren't doing that.
It wouldn't work.
It
yeah.
would be very obvious, I think.
And it also decreased the amount of drama,
Yeah,
which was amazing.
it did. Yeah.
And specifically too, one of the things I took for granted at the time that we worked together that we created, and I didn't realize how much it mattered to me, is that we always had each other's back on the team. So somebody could go to you and say, Anita's making me crazy, and she's doing this and this and this. And you would listen and you would do all of that, and you may or may not bring it to me.
Right.
And it doesn't mean I might have things to work on. And at the time you'd come and say, hey, really, I think we need to work on these things. And I'd be like, okay. But we had such a relationship that we worked to not take it personally.
Yeah.
We worked to not create drama around it. We took it as useful was our term. Like, this is useful and this will help me be better in delivering on the mission.
Yeah. And sometimes as a CEO, it's your job to sort of balance what's being shared. You know more about like each executive than they may know, like because you spend more time one-on-one as the CEO, there's more shared with you in confidence. And so you have a little more insight into the team dynamics at times, maybe with the exception of the CHRO.
Yeah.
If the CHRO is doing their job well, which we should talk more about that.
Yes.
Like how you do that. But like the CEO definitely has like deeper insight into each personality, what drives them, what motivates them, maybe what some of their flaws are in terms of leadership behaviors.
Right.
And so like when something is being shared about another executive and sort of, like holding to this rule of like having each other's back, like the CEO shouldn't sort of jump on that bandwagon and say, oh yeah, that's terrible that when Anita does that, I wish she wouldn't do that. Like that's not healthy, right? You would listen and try to really understand like what's behind it.
Yes.
And then you would then, like help that person see maybe what they might be doing that's contributing to that behavior from the other person, right? And which I think a lot of therapists.
This is where the coaching comes in.
This is where the coaching comes in. A lot of people are really good at this because they, like you don't shift the attention to another person. You actually focus in on like what's behind that for you. Like, what are you doing that's contributing to that? Because that's the only thing you can control.
Right.
And so in a lot of ways, CEOs do become like CEOs. I mean, some CEOs don't want to do this at all, but like I would say the ones that, understand people really well are capable of sort of playing this role where you start almost acting a bit like, a coach yourself.
You are.
Within the business, for your executives, and you learn how to sort of balance these dynamics. So you're not, betraying different members of your team, but you're helping each person on the team learn how they can perform at their very best.
Yeah.
And that usually means focusing on you.
Yes.
Yourself. It's not about what everyone else is doing. No. It's about you. And so like most of the conversation ends up back on that.
Yeah.
Right?
But this is hard for leaders in any role. Yeah. How did you come about that realization?
I mean, I think through my own learning and coaching. I think, after a while, like I would say in the beginning, before I started doing coaching myself, I used to think, oh, like, I'm not the problem. Everyone else is the problem.
Right.
Right. Like, we're not performing as well as we could. Like, it must be everyone else that I've hired.
Yeah.
Right. And then
let's trade them out.
And then eventually, yeah. And that's the approach a lot of people take.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work most of the time. And it was like through my own self-development that I started to realize, no, I actually am the problem. And I'm a big reason why we're not performing at a higher level. And if I work on myself, that's going to do more for the company than almost anything else.
Yeah.
And so like, as I went through that, my own realization of my own sort of self-discovery and self-development, it became easier for me to coach my team on those same principles. I think that's just human nature. Like once you've kind of been through it, it's easier to, share it. But, and it's true. And you also learn a lot when you're being coached by someone else.
Yes.
You learn how you can sort of play that role for other people. And so I think there was a lot of that happening within the business, not just like at our level, but even, further down the ranks, there was a lot of coaching happening throughout the business, just naturally, organically.
It was built into our culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to, can I
back,
sort of,
yes.
I want to like go deeper on this one thing. Like one of the things I think also contributed to the amazing nature of our partnership for this extended chapter was how you engaged with the rest of the executive team. And this is something I really wanted from you. I wanted to see you doing this. And so talk about some of the things you did to sort of, nurture those relationships where you could have a relationship of trust. It's one of the things I haven't seen very commonly either out there in the wild of like a CHRO, like of all the companies I've sort of, invested in or, helped in different ways. I haven't quite seen this happen at the same level that it did during that time.
Thank
You did some things to sort of gain trust with the team that allowed you to sort of have a purview that most, I think, CHROs don't have in their business.
I think a big part, I remember two situations explicitly, especially when I first started and our head of product, we all were in the same building together.
Yeah.
And I remember going up to him and I said, teach me how you build our product. Teach me how you look at learners. Teach me how you look at authors. Teach me about the business. And it opened up this whole world of him, and he was a great teacher, of him being excited to say, let me show you this, let me show you this, let me show you why it matters and how I'm building it. And I started to really understand how we built our product from his perspective, because it is like an art form.
Yeah.
And appreciation for it, because I knew that I could not hire the talent he needed unless I could see the vision underneath our big Vision 2020 for how the product was actually going to manifest. I had to have my team understand that to deliver the great talent to him. And also to help him work through really complex things, especially as we grew, right? As we expanded to other countries, as we had multiple products, as we did these things, I couldn't see it if I didn't understand how we built it. And it was the only way for me to have credibility in those strategy sessions. And it wasn't about one-upping, but it was like, okay, if we're going to change the org design, remember we just went rounds and rounds. Are we matrixed or are we single-threaded? I don't think I could have weighed in on those things and delivered value unless I spent time and understood how he was building product. And same for, I remember I was like scared to death in like going into our board meetings with one of the greatest mathematicians who we both know, sitting across the table and asking for equity and not feeling like I understand the impact to our balance sheet, right? And what that was going to look like. And I remember sitting down with our CFO and saying, will you have dinner with me? Will you sit and go through the spreadsheets with me? We're going to stay in the conference room. I'll order in whatever you want. And can you help me prep for all the questions I'm going to get on these things that I do not feel comfortable answering? And it was that moment, and I feel like a lot of people don't want to do that. They don't want to show what they don't know. But I actually got people to get behind me. And there's a lot of times where he backed me up and he saved me in questions that I couldn't answer because he knew I couldn't answer, but he was doing me a favor.
Yeah.
Because he knew like where my boundaries were on certain topics, but he was also well prepped on these topics so we could be partners together to actually serve you and the rest of the management team in these conversations. So it was a team building.
Yeah.
But it was through me going in and wanting to learn. It was the learner's mindset at the core.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's like the growth mindset that you demonstrated to like really understand their business.
Yeah.
And like what made it tick, like what made it work, and like the unique things about Pluralsight and how we
Yes.
were doing things differently, like in each
Yes.
of their worlds.
Right?
And then that sort of, bonded them to you in a way that they probably hadn't experienced before with HR leaders, because
Right.
they could tell you really wanted to know.
Well, and then I started talking to customers at our big event.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was amazing too. Like, teach me about it, because they had to rely on the
Yeah.
people function for implementation. So selling to the CTO, but relying on this channel to make it successful. And I loved that insight.
Yeah. So ultimately, I mean, and from my vantage point, the thing I saw is like you had a relationship of trust with each of them that looked a little bit different.
Yeah.
It was created probably differently with each of them. They all
Yeah.
had very different personalities,
different.
very successful
Yeah.
at what they did. But sort of bringing all those personalities together and meshing as a team sort of required that kind of understanding from you to then get the sort of the talent, machinery
Yeah.
to like really work in our favor as a team, right?
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
then that's really what I witnessed. Then what also sort of came from that, which was like a bonus or a benefit, is like if one of these executives ever started feeling discouraged for some reason or unhappy about whatever it might be compensation related, it might be team dynamics, it might be a concern about the strategy.
Yeah.
Like you were often the first one to hear about it because you had that relationship.
Yeah.
And, sometimes in companies, when an executive gets frustrated to the point that they want to leave,
it's too late.
Most of the time it's too late, but the CHRO with that kind of relationship has the best opportunity
to get ahead,
to save that person.
Yeah.
And to sort of help resolve whatever that issue was, if it's resolvable. And I've seen that play out in our company at Pluralsight, but also many other big companies. We tried to hire an executive at one point, if you recall, from another big tech company here in Utah.
Yeah.
And at the last minute, look, we thought we had the person, like he had signed, he was coming, he was committed. And then their CHRO came in and saved the day, and that person didn't come.
Yes.
And it was because
that relationship
that CHRO had with that individual.
And a great learning for us, because you and I looked at each other and we said, well, we don't ever want to be there again.
Right.
Like, who do we have to be to never be there?
That's right. And again, in that company too, there was also a really strong partnership between the CEO and the CHRO. And because the CEO knew that CHRO had such a strong relationship, he was able to rely on her in this situation to really help accomplish what was best for the business in that case, which was retaining that executive. And anyway, like it's just fascinating how that dynamic can serve the business so well when it's done well.
And you and I also had really quick learning cycles. Like we would see something and be like, oh, we don't like that. Let's not do that again. And again, it wasn't personal.
Yeah.
Like you could come to me and say, hey, I didn't love how you said that in there. And I'd be like, you're right. That was horrible. And it would just be like, on to the next.
Yeah.
But also I felt like I could share that with you. Hey, when you did this, I think it could have been done this way and you would have had more impact. And you'd like, great, thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't this big emotional thing. It was just part of how we operated.
Yeah, I think that's, again, back to like the rules and the sort of the playbook. We had a really tight sort of executive playbook of how we operated as a team. Is really
You
clear to
actually
everybody.
had 2 pages, remember?
Yeah, I remember
that. Was cool.
Yeah, we wrote that down and said, like, these are our rules of engagement and how we want to operate as a team.
Yeah.
And so it was like top of mind for everybody. We had little sort of phrases we would use to kind of describe the behaviors we wanted to see.
First.
Answer first was one of them. Yeah, that's a good one. Like, let's explain that. Like, one of the things that became frustrating to a lot of us in executive team meetings was them just going too long.
Yeah.
And part of the reason why they would go too long is like someone would ask a question and then someone would take 10 minutes to answer it.
Yeah.
And we didn't really need those 10 minutes.
No.
We just needed the answer.
Yeah.
We don't need to know how you got to the answer. We just want the answer.
And if we want to know more, we'll ask you.
We'll ask you. So then we implemented this rule, like after everyone sort of like that, as we had our offsites and talked about like what was working, what wasn't working, this thing sort of emerged as like, we got to fix this.
Yeah.
So as a team, we talked about it and said, let's just develop a new rule. Let's write it down called answer first.
Yep.
So next time a question is asked, even though you might be tempted to give the 10-minute version of the answer, just give the answer in 30 seconds. And then if anybody wants to know more, we'll ask for more.
That's right.
And that actually did speed things up.
It really did.
It was actually really, really helpful. It doesn't mean that's the right answer for every team or every organization, but like if you're operating with that culture as a team, you'll find your own playbook that works best for you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here. We're just so grateful. We have a few speed round questions that we'll go through. If you're game.
Let's do it.
Okay. So our last CEO gets to ask you a question.
Okay.
And Johnny Taylor's question for you is, what is the biggest failure you experienced and what did you learn?
Woo! There were so many. We had a roller coaster journey over the 20 years that I ran the company. But I think the biggest one was kind of towards the end of not moving fast enough on AI. We saw it. We like when it hit the scene.
We knew
We knew it was going to be impactful, but I think we were also a bit in denial that it was going to really change things dramatically. Like I think that's always everyone's first instinct, especially when you built something big. We were sitting on 600 million of revenue, and it's like people are still going to need to learn.
Yeah.
There's still going to be knowledge transfer. People are going to need to teach. But I think we all underestimated, and me in particular, like underestimated how fast AI was going to move. And I think that has led to, a lot of impact to the organization. I wish we would have moved a little faster earlier. Mm-hmm. Still, the story hasn't been fully written. Like what does that look like for Pluralsight longer term? I know the organization is working on that, night and day today to be a big player in AI, the future of AI learning. But I wish I would have moved faster on AI, and thinking more deeply about how AI changes the way our talent performs within the business, how work gets done.
Yeah.
Like the future of the future of HR has to be AI centric.
For sure.
And then, but also like how it changes our product, how it changes our solutions, how it changes the learning experience. And so if I could get one do-over, I would definitely do that one differently.
What do you think would have pushed you forward in that moment? Like you talked about a little bit of denial. Was denial because you're so tech forward? This is a surprise for me to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was not. I think just not fully appreciating.
Yeah.
Like what it would be capable of doing. Mm-hmm. I think we all have experienced that at different parts of our lives in different ways. Like, I mean, the thing that made Pluralsight a monumental success was the fact that we saw the opportunity when the cloud came together with
100%.
podcasting and digital content and low-cost microphones and like all these like ingredients. Like now the foundation has been laid where we can build a platform where the world can be our classroom. But it was really the innovation of the internet and cloud computing that made that possible. And a lot of other learning companies didn't see it.
It's true.
And I think that's always sort of the innovator's dilemma. To use Clay Christensen. It's harder to see it sometimes when you were the last innovator.
Yeah.
To see the next innovation and how that next innovation might disrupt you. And so I think we all fall to that at times. And I think also we were in a situation with our capital structure and our investor at the time, our primary investor, where innovation wasn't the top priority. Mm-hmm. So even though I wanted to go do some of these things and do some of this experimentation and learning, we weren't able to do that. Yeah. So it was confluence of a lot of factors and issues, but again, like I think one thing is to be sort of tech centric and tech leaning, but another thing is to actually do it.
Tech action. Like actually go build. Yeah. And we did have a team doing that inside of Pluralsight, but like it was a small investment. It wasn't like we're shifting the whole company. Yeah. I'll give you a good example here in Utah. So a good friend of mine, Eric Ray, who runs Podium. Yeah. He just posted on LinkedIn this week that they just reached 100 million in ARR in their new AI agent revenue. That's amazing.
That is not how they built their business.
That's not at all how they built it.
So they built a business that got to a certain scale. And then like at a very sort of critical time when growth was slowing, the markets were changing, AI was hitting, they did a massive pivot to where they said, we're going double, triple down on AI. AI is going to be the future of our revenue.
Genius.
And now they just hit a major milestone where they're sort of outpacing their core business with AI revenue.
It's amazing.
And a very promising future for the business for the next, who knows how many decades.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm talking about.
Got it.
Like companies, like today is a moment of massive change, and there's never been more opportunity, more, just more change and evolution that's possible in every industry, every landscape, and AI is sort of the technology behind all of it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So if I have a question for the next person,
Yes, you do.
if I get to ask one,
Yes.
it would be, how are you thinking about AI in the context of HR?
Yes.
Like, how is that going to look different 5 years from now, 10 years from now?
Love it.
Like, should to Johnny's comment
Yeah.
earlier today, should the CHRO own a huge chunk of the AI strategy? Like, is that a world you envision?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Well, and I also want to hear from the next CEO too.
I know,
but, like,
I know.
yes.
I think it's a big part of it. It has to be central to it. Like in any new investment, think about how we would do headcount plans. I think we have to say it's an investment plan. How is the work going to get done? It could be human. It could be automated.
Yep.
It could be AI.
And
we
how does it all
answer
work together?
And how do we make it work together?
Yeah.
I don't think it's got to be centered just on humans. It's looking at the job to be done and how do we go tackle that
I love
job.
that. I like that vision. I think there's a lot of truth to that, and which means the job of a CHRO in the future is going to look very different.
It does. It is, the Will Clive.
And you've got to know AI.
You do. You do. And I don't think people should hire the role unless they know and have ability to hire the technical chops to go get it done.
Agreed.
So either it'll be absorbed through the CIO or the CTO. But many HR leaders can evolve and get there too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Let's see. What's one leadership habit you thought mattered early in your career, but now believe is overrated?
I would say polished communication skills. Having good communication skills is important as a CEO, but I think authenticity in communication matters more.
Oh, interesting.
Being vulnerable,
Yeah. Being real.
being real.
We learned that too, didn't we?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Not like being worried about flubbing a sentence
Right.
or a word or two. Like, who cares?
Also just coming out with the message if it's bad news.
Yes. Being direct and clear and
Yes.
authentic and allowing your team to feel what you're feeling, I think those are like, that's more important. I think a lot of CEOs think, oh, now I'm the spokesperson for the company. I've got to, go out and give all these talks and speeches and
Yeah.
yes, you need to get good at that, but like, it's not as important as people think.
That's
And I think it's more important to be able to deliver a very real, authentic message to your team.
That's amazing. If you could give one message to CEOs and CHROs, what would it be?
Lean in to each other.
Yeah,
I think that's the whole topic of today.
it is.
It would be that.
Awesome. Thank you.
You bet. Happy to be here.
Great to be with you.
Thanks.